Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And with Guns N' Roses ready to play the Apollo Theater on Thursday to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Appetite for Destruction, there's a lot of questions that you guys are asking on my channel. And I thought maybe I'd take some time to give my opinion. I haven't really done a lot of videos regarding my opinion. It's more just about news. And, we get into the opinion stuff on the podcast when we do that from time to time. But I wanted to talk about what I think is going to happen at the Apollo show. The biggest question people keep asking is, well, are the original five going to reunite? And I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but my opinion on the whole thing is that at the very most, Steven Adler will show up and play some songs. Maybe he'll play the Appetite songs, and that's about it. Izzy, I don't think there's any chance of hell of him actually coming and performing with these guys on stage. It's really shitty as a fan to see that, after 30 years, even a couple of years ago, if you had asked me if Guns N' Roses would have reunited, I would have said, well, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is probably the last chance these guys will ever have to reunite. If they don't do it then, it's never going to happen. And we're 3-4 years later, Slash, Axl, and Duff put their differences aside. Although who would have thought that it would have been Slash and Axl who put their differences aside, but for some reason Izzy and Steven can't come back to the band. And, Izzy made it clear in his social media post that the reason he's not part of the reunion is because the guys didn't want to split the money equally, which I think is really shitty because, at that age, how much money do you really need to retire? But I think at the Apollo show, we already know who's going to be performing. If you've been listening to the Sirius XM station that Guns N' Roses have had on Faction, they've been promoting Axl, Slash, and Duff. They've even said it in the promo, Slash, Duff, and Axl. And there's no mention of Izzy or Steven Adler. There's no interviews with those guys. There's not even interviews with Axl. And even if you look at Melissa Reese's social media posts, I want to thank Chef Robert for pointing this out. She was even, posting on social media that she's excited to be playing New York City in a couple of days. So I think the lineup we're going to see at the actual Apollo show is going to be the lineup we've seen over the last year or so, with maybe a surprise appearance by Steven Adler. I think it would be really disappointing as a fan to see them honor Appetite and not have Steven Adler there, especially considering his drumming was such an important part of that album. And once he left the band, even Izzy said that, Guns N' Roses lost something when Steven left. Now, the next question I think people may have is, what is Guns N' Roses going to play at the Apollo show? And that's a really good question. Guns N' Roses mostly stick to Appetite for most of the material. They play some Illusion songs, and they play some Chinese Democracy songs. As a fan, I don't really care about Chinese Democracy. I wish they would just stop playing those songs and play just some deeper cuts. The fact that they played Chinese Democracy songs at the Troubadour kind of surprised me, so I think anything's fair game. I think most of the material is going to be from Appetite. I mean, hell, they pretty much play that album from start to finish, with the exception of Think About You, Anything Goes, and You're Crazy. And I don't see why they just don't tack on those three additional songs and just play the entire album in its entirety, like a lot of bands do on the anniversary. I think they'll throw in some Illusion songs. I'm curious to see whether they're going to play the longer ballads like November Rain and Estranged. I feel like this gig at the Apollo is not going to be as financially lucrative as probably some of the other gigs that Guns have played over the last year or so, so maybe it could be a shorter set list. Because at the Troubadour, they only played 17 or so songs, and if you look at Guns N' Roses concerts they've played in Europe recently, they've been playing anywhere from 26 to 30 plus songs. The other thing I want to talk about is, if Izzy doesn't show up, I don't really know if we're going to see Izzy again on stage with these guys. There's part of me that says it's never going to happen. But then if you look at some of the sales of, how their tickets are selling in some of these North America markets that Guns will be playing this summer and this fall, Guns are not selling very well in some of the markets. Like the city I live in has extremely poor ticket sales. I think some of the other places they're going to be playing also have poor ticket sales from what I've read online. The start time has actually been moved up in some of these markets as well. And some people are pointing out that it could be because of financial reasons. And there's part of me that says, well, if they're having trouble selling tickets in North America, do you think that maybe they'll try to get Izzy and Steven to come back to help sell more tickets? But then there's also part of me that says, well, how many of the casual fans that go to these concerts even know who Izzy or Steven is? I mean, I was listening to Eddie Trunk give away tickets, and one of Eddie's questions was, name 5 guitarists who have played in Guns N' Roses, and one of the guys who called in couldn't even remember Izzy's name. And I was even listening to the Howard Stern show. He had a contest on his show today. He had 2 so-called Guns N' Roses fans on. One guy had seen Guns N' Roses 37 or 39 times, and he didn't even know some of the basic questions that Guns N' Roses fans should know the answer to, like which town is Axl Rose from? And, he didn't even know about Cantor's Deli or any of that stuff. So, it's kind of hard to say. I think that the Apollo show is going to be a standard Guns N' Roses show. I don't think there's going to be anything really that much special about it. And I think the set list is going to be pretty much similar to what we've probably seen before, or maybe it'll lean a little more towards Appetite and they'll play a shorter set list. But either way, I'm going to be listening. I'll give you guys a full recap. This shows, I think I heard Howard mention it's going to start at 10 p.m. Eastern. Howard said he's not going because it's too late for him, which I think is kind of a cop-out. But the good news is if it starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, that's 8 p.m. my time. By the time I'm ready to go to bed, the concert should probably be over. And I think everyone's dying to know what Axl's voice is going to sound like, especially if people record it. I think it'll hopefully be one of the better concerts. We'll have actual audio footage too. So let me know what your guys' predictions are for the 30th anniversary show. Do you think Guns will be doing anything special on Friday to commemorate the 30th anniversary, or do you think it'll just be on Thursday and that'll be it? So let me know in the comment section, guys. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me and my thoughts. Do you guys agree with me? Let me know in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the content of this video, and be sure to check out my retrospective of the Appetite for Destruction 30th anniversary. I did a true story episode about it earlier today, and I'll have part 2 coming out tomorrow. So thanks for watching, guys, and have yourself a good one.